But the Ministry of Magic in particular is obsessed with making Harry look delusional, and they're even belittling Dumbledore as well. Welcome back once again to another bookish review. Now today we are going to be talking about Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Now this is the 5th book in the Harry Potter series, so if you haven't read the others, go ahead and do that now. And if you don't want spoilers for the 5th book and thus the ones that came before it, you can leave now. I won't be upset. Now, this book takes off directly after the events of the 4th book, and because of the events of the 4th book, where Harry had witnessed Voldemort kill one of his friends in Cedric Diggory, he is telling everyone that Voldemort's back and that they need to prepare. But the Ministry of Magic in particular is obsessed with making Harry look delusional, and they're even belittling Dumbledore as well, because Dumbledore is 100% siding with Harry in the fact that Voldemort is back, and not only back, but on the attack. The Ministry just doesn't want to believe it because he was one of the strongest wizards of his kind and of his age, and they are fearful of having to deal with him yet again. So they're trying to slander Harry in all of the newspapers. They're trying to silence him and make him look crazy. And Harry's like, I swear to you, Voldemort is back and we need to do something. So in an attempt to quiet Harry, the Minister for Magic sends in a, Magisterium second in command, whatever, in Umbridge to, keep Harry quiet. And she is a tyrant who is yet again another teacher for the Defense Against the Dark Arts position. And she has no interest in actually teaching the students how to defend themselves from dark magic because, as I said, they want to keep all of that quiet. They don't want it known that Voldemort is back and strong again. So they're trying everything they can to sabotage that whole fact. Now, Umbridge is an absolute bitch, no sugarcoating it. She runs Dumbledore out of Hogwarts after Harry's like, he hasn't hardly talked to me all year, he's acting like I don't exist. It's just this whole thing. Umbridge comes in, tries to take over the school. Dumbledore's ignoring Harry, and no one will tell Harry why, and he's not sure what he did to get Dumbledore to, ignore him, so he feels very much alone, aside from his friends and Ron and Hermione. Now, frustrated by this, Hermione's like, we have to do something, we have to push back because he is out there and we know it's true. So she convinces Harry to start the, Dumbledore's army, or secretly teaching students that want to learn how to actually defend themselves in Defense Against the Dark Arts. So Harry becomes a surrogate tutor and Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher for a lot of the students. And at first, Harry was very against this plan. He's like, I don't want a war, I don't, all of that stuff that I did in previous years was accidental, or I had help. How am I supposed to teach a whole class of students this thing if I just lucked my way through it? So finally, with the convincing of Harry and Ron, he ends up starting this club and starts teaching the students all that he knows about defending himself against the dark arts. All the while, Umbridge is turning the school to hell. She's making all these rules. She took away Quidditch at one point because 3 or more students couldn't get together without it being considered a traitorous act to the Ministry of Magic. She instated a rule for the groundskeeper to punish students severely. Her detentions are literally torturing the students by having them write lines, and then the wounds will show up as scarring on the student's skin. She's all around a bitch to the teachers, willing to fire any of the teachers at any moment for no reason. Although Professor McGonagall is like the best. Like, she takes none of Umbridge's shit. She's like, Dumbledore wouldn't have wanted this, I'm not gonna let you push me around too. And on top of all of that, on top of Harry teaching the students Defense Against the Dark Arts and Umbridge absolutely being a tyrant, Dumbledore had told Snape to teach Harry occlumency. And occlumency is like defense against mind control or mind infiltration. Because Harry keeps having these strange dreams and he's seeing visions of people being attacked, and it actually ended up happening. So they're worried that Voldemort is weaving his way into Harry's mind. And because of this, Harry is irrationally angry. He's always frustrated. He looks at Dumbledore and he feels like a snake is coiling up inside him. And he keeps having dreams about this door that leads down a hall. And he's like, I want to go to that door, but every time I get there, I'm awake again. And so he gets lured to the Ministry of Magic, where he ends up going down the very same door that he has been dreaming about for months. And let me tell you, when I say the fight in the Ministry of Magic for the prophecies is brutal. Kids are getting thrown against walls, thrown over tables, blasted with like paralysis spells, knocked unconscious, having bones broken. It is a lot more intense in the book, and pretty much everyone leaves that fight having to go to the hospital wing. It's a lot more intense than it was in the movie because those kids went through it. And this is finally when we get the explanation of why Dumbledore has been ignoring Harry all year. And it was because he wanted to keep him safe. Because he could see Voldemort inside Harry's eyes every time they spoke. And he thought that if Dumbledore had said something in his presence, it would get back to Voldemort and then everyone would be in danger. So we finally find out the whole thing of Harry being an accidental part of Voldemort, and we find out the prophecy that only one can live while the other survives, meaning that Harry is now faced with the fact that he is either going to be murdered or have to kill Voldemort in order for this whole thing to stop. And he's like, I don't want any part of this. I never wanted any part of this. I didn't ask for this. And it's just a very grown-up book. Like, it starts out, the first book starts out really lighthearted and like, oh, kids going to wizarding school, wouldn't that be so cool? And the stakes gradually rise through the books. It's like the books are growing up with the people reading them, because this one by far is the darkest. I mean, like I said, there were kids put in the hospital wing without mercy, left and right, in that fight. And then Harry has to sit there and face the realization of, it's either kill or be killed in this scenario. There's no way we can continue this. And there's this whole like secret society thing going on, and he finds out the real reason he's had to put up with his horrible aunt and uncle through all of these books, because Harry's aunt has her mom's like blood spell that she had died to protect Harry, and so that spell rests on the one with the closest blood. So she knew about that and had taken him in because of that. So she's not as bad as she seems, but she's still abusive, so don't give her any credit for taking Harry in. But like, this kid is put through the ringer. He's feeling these feelings that aren't his, and he feels terrible for them, and he's going through this book trying to be a good person, but because of Voldemort and their connection, he is constantly snapping at people, constantly angry, having these thoughts that he wants to seriously hurt Dumbledore, and he just doesn't know why. And then you have that bitch of a teacher, Umbridge, on top of it, who luckily gets her comeuppance when Hermione tricks her because she's trying to torture information out of Harry. Hermione turns that against her and tricks her into a trap, kicking her out of the school for good. But this book was really good so far. I'm going to start the second one probably tomorrow because I'm listening to the audiobook while I exercise or do stuff around the house. I have fallen into the trap of somehow reading every medium. I'm listening to the Harry Potter audiobooks. I'm reading book 2 of a series I'm reading on Wattpad, and then I'm reading The Fourth Wing as a physical book. I don't know how I got into that trap, but there we are. So I might continue book 6 tomorrow as an audiobook, and until then I'm going to be reading The Fourth Wing and The Legends book 2 to the one I'm reading on Wattpad. So hope you guys enjoyed, and